Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. I already looked at the date and I've already forgotten it. Today is Monday, September 22nd. Welcome. Steven's going to do a little sound check really quickly before we get rolling today. Oh, it looks like it's working. Hey, it's fall.
Is that?
Is it officially? I think today, or is that tomorrow?
I don't
It
know.
might be tomorrow. I don't know, but it's this week for sure. We've moved into fall.
Happy fall, y'all.
Happy fall, y'all. There you go.
All right.
All right, quality content here.
Yep.
Are you glad you woke up bright and early on a Monday morning to catch us here?
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if you know this, but we do billing now.
Do we do billing?
2.99%. Yep.
How about that? That's
Yep.
pretty good. Pretty
And
great.
we don't stick you with a long-term contract.
Well, that's kind of cool too.
Yeah,
Oops,
yeah.
I missed your floof there. Okay, I fixed it.
All right, cool. All right. Yeah, so I guess we're ready to get started.
Yeah, I guess so. Let's get right to it. We're bringing you some news. We're not really news people. We're just pretending to be on TV. So Stephen does research every week and looks into articles and information and things that could be relevant for you as an ABA business leader, just to keep you in the know. We don't claim to know all the things about what we're posting, but we do. The main intention here is really just to get conversations started. And we know that you're super busy and you don't necessarily have the time to go down like a rabbit hole looking into these things. So Stephen puts himself on a timer and he takes that journey down the rabbit hole for you. And then we bring that information to you so that you can decide for yourself whether you want to go down the rabbit hole.
I need to fix the screen so like it doesn't have the black bars. You know,
Oh,
maybe I need to fix that.
Yeah, well, maybe that's for another day. All right, so what's our first rabbit hole? What's the first news for today? Apple Valley arrest? Like arrested? Like, okay. Apple Valley arrest, a wake up call for ABA practice owners. I don't know that I want to even read this, but here we go. An ABA therapist in Apple Valley, California, was arrested on multiple felony charges involving a child under 14. The case raised urgent concerns about hiring safeguards, supervision, and driving record checks. Families trust ABA providers with their most vulnerable loved ones, making strong systems non-negotiable. Whew.
So the story was the mom realized that her child was acting differently, and she was pretty convinced that what was going on. So she put in some hidden cameras, and she caught this person. It didn't go into much detail about what the person was doing, but I mean, he was charged with some serious stuff. Again, these are all no one like everybody's innocent until proven
Alleged.
guilty, right? So this is all allegations, but yeah, so it seemed fairly serious. And then the ABA company immediately terminated this person, and he was, I believe, he's in jail without bail at this point. So during the investigation, they found out that this is in-home services, and he was driving without a license. So I don't know, did he lose his license? Did he ever have a license? I like there is not much information on this, but these are things that as an in-home agency that you really need to make sure that you have in place, right? Like you're checking driving records because they're driving for work, so they need to have a license. You should absolutely have non-owned auto insurance as an in-home ABA agency. Even for clinics, you may want to have that because sometimes you're going to schools, sometimes you may do some transitions to in-home. I find a lot of clinic-based ABA companies also do some small amount
Hmm.
of in-home service, right? Or
Sometimes, yeah.
in community service. So it would be a good idea to have non-owned auto if you are in fact doing that. But yeah, so this is, we've talked about this before, but I'm going to continue talking about this. We have to put things in place. One of the articles that um, I published a while back was like this person got the job because he knew,
Right.
right? He knew that this would be the environment that
This
he
would
would
give
be in.
him
He would get
access.
access.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
this is something that has to be on your mind. So like having tight hiring process, doing background checks, um, like the sex registry checks, making sure that they do have driving record, right? Like that they have they have a license.
Right. Right.
These things are important, and then having I would also have that talk with the family, right? Like this is just, you know, it's a horrible situation to be in, but your child is, I don't know, what is it, 300% more likely to be abused. So like this has to be something that you're thinking about, right, to keep your child safe. And regardless of whether they're with us at the ABA company, or they're going to a camp, or they're going to, some other service, right? This just has to
School.
be, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we did a article on school where the child threw up their lunch, and the teacher and the tech tried to make them eat it. Like it's just ridiculous, right? So yeah, so this just has to be something that the parents are educated on, because they may not understand, right? This. So yeah, so she put in cameras. Good on her, right? Great job, mom, for doing that. And this is what the result was. So
All right. Well, Steven's already touched on a few things, but what can you do as a business owner? Look at your policies, revisit your hiring and your background check policies, but also look at your policies for staff, right? So, are you allowing your staff to drive clients? That was one thing that we put a policy in place to not allow it, right? We could follow behind the family if we were accompanying them on an outing. But getting their driving record is super crucial. I guess maybe part of that's getting their driver's license or getting proof of a driver's license
yeah, I
if
mean the
they're driving
DMV
for their
record,
job.
yeah, DMV,
Yeah,
and it's not just a one-time thing, right?
right.
Because you may
Ongoings.
have a liar, right? Like that's possible, and so they may get a DUI. They don't tell you about it, right? There's a lot of things. So your insurance company, whoever you get your, professional liability, general, non-owned auto, should have some policy that they require for checking this, because this is the other thing, right? Like if let's say this company does have non-owned auto, but this person's driving around without a license, they're probably not going to cover that, right? You know what I mean? Like, so these things, I mean, this wasn't an accident, but if there was a car accident and this person didn't have a license, I assume they don't have their own insurance. They don't have a license. So this would be a huge potential issue, right?
Right. So that brings us up to another point of internal audits, right? So it might be a great time to go ahead and pull out your calendar and put some time on your calendar to plan your next internal audit, being employee files, right? And making a list of all of those things that you need to check on, and then start that audit and put it in place, put it in date in place, right? So that you can go ahead and check and make sure that you're up to date with everything now, and then put a procedure in place of how often are you going to check these items, right? And then also it's a great time to look at your supervision model and maybe, start doing some unannounced
Yeah.
observations if you aren't
Highly recommend
already.
doing
That's
that.
something that
Yes.
we it was just a known thing within our agency that the BCBA supervisor could show up at any time, and we explain that to the parents and we explain that to the techs that they that's one reason why it was so important for us to be have scheduling in house and having everyone aware of the schedules, and for because then if something changed, then our BCBA would know so that they could change their schedule. And then sometimes parents were like, oh, we really need to know when our BCBA is coming, and we explained to them that they could just be under the assumption they could show up at during any session, right?
All right.
And then provide, like you said, provide families with multiple safe channels to raise concerns. If there are any community organizations, or, um, what other resources that you may have in your town, that would be great to include that in your information to parents and families.
Yeah, I think it's just trying to have a transparent, open environment that this is something that they need to be on the lookout for, and having therapy in a common area of the home is highly recommended. Again, we had this conversation the last time. There is, especially when you're working with older children, there may be some privacy concerns where they don't want to talk about certain things or work on certain things in front of their parents or siblings. Totally understand that, but there has to be a balance there, right? We have to look at the cost benefit analysis and make sure that our priority is safety. And so, yeah, this is just again, when you're churning out at 104%. For techs, right? That's your turnover rate. This is again, it goes back to having systems in place, keeping high quality staff happy, and in your company, so that you don't, because again, if you're turning over your entire staff every year, stuff like this is going to fall through the cracks, right? Somebody's going to miss something. That's just what happens. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could talk about here, but it's a really horrible situation. I will keep on bringing these up because it's very important. We're being trusted with some of the most vulnerable children, and we have to protect them, right? That's where I'm at. So now we do have a more fun story.
All right, let's bring it on.
Okay.
Farm-based therapy.
Yeah, I thought this was really cool.
Innovation and ABA business news. Okay, so before we even talk about, I love when we have business owners or potential business owners that come to us and say, okay, I want to do this and incorporate ABA with it, and they bringing their own passion or their own creativity, and with how can we serve the community in this way. Okay.
Yeah. So shout out to Pediatrics Plus. They're actually when I was watching, like, there was a news article. The sources are all in our article, but they had a video of this.
Oh, okay.
And they're already getting ready to open up their second one.
Okay, cool. So let's read the story. Pediatrics Plus opened a new therapy farm in Little Flock, Arkansas, blending ABA, occupational, physical, and speech therapies in real-world settings with kitchens, gardens, and animal care. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders attended the opening, highlighting its visibility. The model emphasizes skill generalization and family engagement. Oh, this is exciting. So they look at generalization of daily living skills. And, oh, this is cool. The innovative environments can improve staff morale and retention, right? Not everybody wants to work on a farm in a farm environment, but for those who do, like, what a fun, way, like fulfilling way of showing up to work every day. And I love the differentiation in service delivery, building community reputation like that. Like why I started this off, like I love how we can bring in creativity and our passion and say, how can we provide ABA? And I love how they're collaborating with OT speech. Like they're doing it all together, right? They're all working together. That's really cool. What else? Tell us more about
Yeah, I
this
mean that's it.
cool
Like
farm.
it's this really cool farm where they're getting to learn, practical skills and just they're outdoors, right? I think it's a really cool thing that they're building there, and that's yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what can you do as an ABA business owner or potential owner?
Open up a farm.
Open up a farm. But even without a farm, you can add real life practice zones like kitchens, laundry, mock apartments, if that's suitable to
Yeah.
the population that you're providing services for. Build partners with local farms, gyms, community centers. Align programming with what families value most, practical life skills. So, we talk a lot about, values based leadership.
Mhm.
Well, there's a lot of providers out there who are also incorporating values into like the family system that they're, providing services for the family and reaching out to the family and saying, what's important to you? What are your values? Right. So if it's like a family who values being outdoors in nature or something, how cool is that to try to adapt the best that we can to something like that?
Yep.
That's so awesome.
Yep.
So track if you're doing something like this that's outside of the maybe traditional model, I guess is how you could say it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could track outcomes that demonstrate value to families and payers, because that was one of my first questions was, okay, well, is insurance paying for this? Right. Because sometimes it gets very, really hyper focused into like, we can only provide in one certain
we can't
area,
do
a
these
certain way.
skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can only work on certain things. Right.
Yep.
So it also would take some really deep knowledge and understanding medical necessity and how that relates to like your payer, and how to make sure that you are working on the skills in a way and wording things in a way for that communication to be clear, right? And to be able to, sometimes it takes a little creativity.
Yep. Yep. That's all I've got today. I did hear that RFK Jr. is supposed to have some big announcement today. So we'll probably highlight that next time. And I did hear an update from Florida Sunshine. It does seem like the moratorium is also on current practices, so they will not be able to add RBTs. From what I understand, anybody knows anything different? Correct me if I'm wrong.
That starts October 6th. Is that first?
So it's coming.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's
Like in a week.
Yeah, seriously. And then the other thing I did see, somebody else wrote an article following up on the Publix
Okay.
thing. And so it did seem, and again, all these are allegations. Don't sue me, anybody. But it seems as though this ABA company was working out of network, and they were sending these huge bills to the parents, and then the parent was trying to get them reimbursed. And part of the allegation is that the parents were supposed to cover 40% of it.
Wow.
But the ABA company was not charging the parents. One of the parents was quoted as saying, "I haven't paid $1 in copay or coinsurance."
Okay. So there's something going on there potentially.
Again, allegedly.
Yeah. So if you're curious about what we're talking about, go back to last week's. Yeah. You can find it on I think the Facebook Lives are there for like 30 days. Yep. Or you can go to anywhere you watch or listen to our podcast.
Or go to our news page on 3piesquared.com.
Yeah.
And if you have any cool stories that you want to share or follow-ups to correct my ridiculousness by trying to do the news, you can call us and leave us a voicemail. So the number is 737-330-1448, and then press 1 and leave us a voicemail. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong.
I know, it's exciting to have a hotline.
Yay,
I've always wanted one. All right. Have an amazing day and rest of your week, and we will see you next week.
All right, bye.